purpose effect, the space where we get honest, we get intentional, and we get aligned with the life God designed for us. I'm David. My mission is simple: help you stop floating through life and start living with purpose. This is my co host, Alicia. She is here today, and we have our first guest. I will immediately hand this to Alicia so you can introduce our guests and share a little bit about who we have the privilege of visiting with today.
Oh my goodness. What I love is how God brings things full circle. And so Deanna Becket, I had the privilege of hearing her on the radio for years and the impact. And then we've connected through numerous different things and have stayed connected because of Facebook and the beauty of that. And so of course, when she started sharing what she was doing, I thought, I got to get her on. So let me give you guys a powerful introduction because this gal is a rock star. And so to me, like, this is a big deal that we have her as our first guest. So we are super blessed. But Deanna is a professional keynote speaker, author, and life leadership and health and freedom coach, which is a fancy way of saying she helps people get their lives together and have fun doing it. And I can definitely attest to that. She is a proud North Dakota native. Yes, the accent makes the occasional cameo. And I would agree, I have that North Dakota accent as well. Deanna graduated from North Dakota State University before heading west to the Black Hills of South Dakota. There, she met and married Chris, and together they bravely homeschooled two children, surviving algebra and science projects, earning a master's degree in patience and laundry along the way. These days, Deanna and Chris have traded snow boots for flip-flops, soaking up some much Florida sunshine and beach time as humanly possible. She still says oofda now and then just to keep her Midwestern streak hard. Here's what I want. So we're going to really focus on, she is championing a comeback for human sparkle and inspiring others to shine brighter with humor, heart, and a touch of Dakota charm. And with that, you guys, that's why it ties in so well to have her here, is to help people to sparkle and inspire, just like what David and I want to do of inspiring you for your purpose. So with that being said, Deanna, thank you so much for being on here today. We are super, super excited to have you here. I know I just went over sort of your life story, but can you just share a little bit more of what God has been doing in your life over the last few years or however far back you want to go?
I won't start in my childhood, but there's a lot of stuff that starts there, and it's easy to sparkle when I get to see you with your yellow glasses and David with your orange shirt. We're matching today, so that is awesome.
Yep.
The,
Thank you
the
very
way to
much. I love
sparkle
that.
is to wear it on the outside, and there were times that it's a great segue. There were times in my life that I did not sparkle. I sparkled on the outside only, but not so much on the inside. I carried a lot of guilt, remorse, anger, irritation, just the yuck and the muck. And I'd put on a face for, being with public. I'd put on a face going to church. I'd put on a face, doing everything we did. But there was some yuck inside. And so when people ask me, I've written two books now. My first book I wrote, they said, "How long did it take to write your book?" I went, "My life," because it's, your life story. You bring in what you learn. How people will ask you, I bet, how you got your confidence, how you got your sparkle. It didn't come overnight. It came from growing and adjusting and reading the word and just digging in and getting real and down and dirty. And there are times when my yuck comes on my sleeve again and I have to brush it off because it will peek up and come right out my mouth, because what's in our heart comes out of our mouth. And there are times where it's yucky. But I was born and raised in North Dakota, like you said, about 25 years living there. No, not 25, but moved to Minneapolis for a stint, like 6 months, and then moved to Rapid City. Met my husband, Chris, and had two kids. And we lived in Rapid City for about 27 years. He was born and raised there. And then moved to Florida. And we are just loving the sunshine, the beach. And we get back home, whether it be to North or South Dakota, as much as we can. And my work, my job, my full-time job, gets me back there more often than I really thought I would be getting back there. It's such a blessing to be able to fly back into the states that we did a lot of stomping into, Wyoming, Montana, the Dakotas, Nebraska. So it's fun to go back and see and meet and help the people grow. So since we moved away from Rapid City, I had the opportunity to step into some big shoes as a regional director with a nonprofit organization that I volunteered for. Both my husband and I volunteered for in Western South Dakota. And now I work full time for them. And it is just a blessing to be able to support. I don't like saying oversee or lead or anything. I support volunteer grassroots in 7 states surrounding South Dakota. So it is a blast. But last year, no, this year, excuse me. Well, before we left Rapid, actually back in 2019, I started noodling some ideas on paper for my next book. I've actually got 2 of them and kind of kicking around. One is a historical fiction, and I just can't get myself to get dug into that one. So I dug into another self-development book and started noodling that about 2019 and got a base on that, but then I let it lay. And 20 and 21 hit, and you know where that all went. And just kind of let things go and then focused on my health for a little bit. And this year I went, okay, this is sitting in my laptop or in my Google Drive, screaming my name. And for some reason, I don't know, you know how God just kind of nudges. And he's like, you can get this done. This is just, you've done this before. Just get it done. Hire this person, hire that person. Okay. And we started editing in June, which puts a deadline. You know how it is for Thanksgiving puts a deadline on cleaning your house. Thanksgiving, Christmas puts a deadline on, whatever shopping, anything that you have a deadline makes you get it done. But so we set a deadline and we worked through it, and I have a deadline for the launch. And so I'm doing a little scrambling, but we're getting it done.
Well, and you're looking at February timeframe for launching this book, correct?
Correct.
So,
Yep.
and I think towards the end, I really want you to share the opportunities that people to have to come alongside and support you in this. Because I think just hearing about this book when you and I talked about, it's just it's a powerful book because it really puts things in perspective, which we love talking about, but it also gives people practical tools of how to do it. Because I think that's oftentimes what we have found is like, as we come alongside people and we're like, let's walk out your purpose and let's dig deeper. They're like, but I don't know how. And so this book called Shocking the Shtick, which I want you to definitely share how you came up with that name.
That sounds like a story.
I know. And it's a good one. So
Okay, well, then you definitely have to share that because I didn't get in on this. They got together without me, you guys.
But there's a powerful thing, and there's a meaning to it, correct? And so if you could just share a little bit about that, and then what led you into what this book is about.
Certainly. Well, I looked up my book coach for my first book has a kind of a rules of thumb for what you want to name something. And you want it with an ing word at the beginning, the first word. And I always like sticking with something that sounds familiar. So my first book was Cultivating Your Character. And cultivating just fit with the Dakotas. I was born in North Dakota, farming, ranching, things like that. And then I developed or worked on character. And so this one, I was like, all right, what is this working with? And I've kind of pulled some things, and I went, I like the word shock. There's another author that used shock in her book title. And I was like, oh, I can use shocking. And I was like, all right, shocking what? So I was just kind of think of words and pulling things. You use thesaurus. Now we've got the great chat GPT. Oh my goodness, I've used that so much. And I do have to give you a cheater. Most of the thing that you introduced me with was helped with chat GPT because I have to. My brain just goes, bleh. But so shtick has multiple meanings. And I think it was like the 3rd or 4th meaning in Merriam-Webster. And this is the definition that they give is one's special trait, interest, or activity. And I thought how perfectly fitting is that we need to shock that activity or that trait, something that we're known for. Like I said, I had negativity, bitterness, just that yuck inside of me. And we got to shock it. We got to, like put the AED on it and just and wake it up and do what we need to do it. And then a little bit more about shtick. The word shtick has also come to mean any talent, style, or habit. And then grammarist.com, shtick was the original spelling when the word came to English from the German Stück, meaning piece. Here's more fact about it. Though the word usually refers to a performer's style or gimmick, it can also refer to any routine, style, or characteristic, especially one expressed in speech, particular to a person or group of people. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. If we want something different in our lives, we must do something different. So we've got to shock our shtick and shake up our activity. So that's the history of where the title of the book came from.
Which is so powerful because I think I love how when you really share it, there's so much intention behind it. And there's reason. And I also love the idea of the adding the ing. I've never heard that. And that's brilliant because it's what you're doing is you're telling people you have to take action.
It's an action.
And that's really what it all comes down to is we have to take action to create movement, to change things in our lives. And I found so many people when they're in that anger and bitterness and numb and just, I look at, I was just floating through life. I wasn't taking any action. I wasn't living with
Path of least
intention.
resistance.
Yeah. And so I love that. Okay. So tell us a little bit more about what are people going to be learning in this book? Like, what are they going to be taking away that will be able to apply to living a life, letting go of that numbness, that bitterness, that anxiety that so many people are living in?
It's amazing how you say anxiety. I can't remember where I was walking the other day, and I heard somebody mention something about, oh, that reduces my anxiety. I get it from my mother, and I'm like, oh, honey, no, you don't. You bring that on yourself. I'm like, yeah, your mother might be anxious, and you might take an example from her, but you can change that. Oh my goodness, anything we have, we can change. Um, just thinking health. So the health aspect, a little history. My grandmother died when she was 64. I can't even remember how old I was, in my 20s. And I shifted my diet because I knew how she died of heart. And I shifted my diet and I shifted my habits. My mom died when she was 54. And that was more dealt with cancer and smoking. But I was attentive to what I shifted. And I knew, and my sister, it was interesting. My sister said, well, if grandma died at 64 and mom died at 54, what's that mean to us? I said, that means we're going to live to 104 because we're shifting and we're changing what habits that they set for their lives. And we're not going to follow those habits. And so that's just health wise. But what are people going to take away? That's what you asked. I hope they take away. And I have before I answer that, I have a funny story because I had a speaking engagement, I don't know how many years ago. And one person come up to me and he says, will your book change my life? I said, no, not buying my book. Reading it and putting what into practice, that will change your life. But buying it isn't going to do anything. You can buy all the books. You see all the books behind me. You can buy all the books you want. But if you don't read them and put whatever they're talking about into practice, it ain't going to change anything. So my goal is for people to look at some common sense things on how to change. And my focus on this book, the tagline on it is 99 ways to shine with people. So shine is the kind of the bright part, sparkle, glitter, something like that. But and it's broken down into 4 sections. So shine with finances, shine at work, shine at home, and shine on the road. Just fit with what I was looking at. So I mean, just an example, and I use this with my son frequently because he gets irritated with people in traffic. How many of you, and you guys are probably dealing with snow pretty soon, how many of us have been driving on the road and somebody passes us, does something stupid, slows down, holds us up, takes a stupid turn, doesn't use their signal, all that. And how often do we lose our peace because of somebody else's driving? So over time, learning, reading, growing, I discovered to shift my mentality when I'm driving. When somebody does stupid stuff, I shift and I go, they might be dealing with something that I have no idea what they're dealing with. And that's one of the things that in one of my chapters is slowing down
Perspective.
Yes. It's all
and think
perspective.
of, I mean, God works in great ways, and you might be slowed down on the road to avoid a wreck, to save you, to protect you and your family. You might be delayed for 30 minutes and it's irritating. You're late to work. But then I've actually driven past, you're coming along and this traffic's a little slow and you drive by and there was a massive wreck. And I just go, thank you, God, because that could have been me had I left the half hour earlier than I was planning. So I shift in my mind. If there's someone passing me, I don't think about what an idiot. Don't flip them anything, but think about they could be coming from a funeral home. They could be coming from the hospital. They could have just lost somebody. They could be dealing with a job loss. I remember multiple times driving back from a doctor's office, and I had such a high fever. I don't remember driving. That was back in my college days. I have driven hours to, bury somebody and just weeping. That person that you think is an idiot driver could be just weeping and they can't even see through their eyes. And so when we learn to shift our thinking and our feelings about outward stuff, that's what we can control. I mean, we go back to, what can we control? We control who we trust, and we control our attitude towards circumstances. We can't control the circumstances. We can control the attitude toward it. And when we think of it differently, just like an ambulance will roar by, and you're like, oh, geez, I gotta hold on. I gotta, it's irritating. It's delaying. But then you go, pray for that person and that family and whatever that they're going to. I mean, there's chaos right there, and those people might not know Jesus, and we got to lift up a prayer when we see those different things that slow us down and irritate us, but just shift our thinking. So that's my whole goal. I mean, that's a little deeper than I wrote my book, but but it's just so fitting, and when we shift things like this, we can be that light and that bright shining beacon for other people to emulate. And if you mind, can I share a powerful
Yeah,
Bible verse?
please. Yes.
This was my word. I choose a word each year. My word in 2024 was arise, because I wanted to go up. And I picked this verse for 2024, Isaiah 60, verse 1 through 3. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. See, darkness covers the earth, and thick darkness is over the peoples. But the Lord rises upon you, and his glory appears over you. Nations will come to your light, and the kings to the brightness of your dawn. And I am just praying that that's what all of my little common sense nuggets. I mean, there's some silly stuff in the book, but that's what I want people to take away, is that boldness and confidence and ability to shine in others people's lives.
Well, and that's really, I mean, that's our purpose. Like that, to me, that's what God created us for, is to represent who he is in all that we say and do that with shining light and just walking that out. And so I love hearing that. I love, and what a powerful scripture. That is one that I hold really near and dear to my heart too, because it's just powerful when that's what God's asking of us. Rise and shine and be that boldness. And so stepping out. I know one of the things that you had talked about even in the book is things as simple as holding the door for somebody. I mean, I think those are powerful. I mean, even David and I were talking earlier about just little things and how little things can impact people
Absolutely.
and helping walk that out. So it's just,
Absolutely. It's very interesting to me, and not familiar with your work. I'm just leaning more into Christianity, having been a Christian most of my life. I've been the covert Christian. And what I'm taking from this right now is the small tasks are what the message is. because our light, it's funny you see you're talking about light. I have a thing, people say good morning on the internet to the social media, and I always say the same thing. I say, good morning. Let's be the light today. Let's shine some light today. Let's bring our light to the world today. So coming in here and seeing that by creating bite-sized bits of light as an example to everybody around us, the book that you're saying, I'm super excited when I get a copy so that I can learn some of these tools myself. But if each of us takes this task to heart and we shine a little bit of light on the people we come into contact with, the person in traffic, and instead of, flying the bird, as one might say, smiling and taking your foot off the gas, let them go ahead. Let them have that. Shine, smile, say, hey, go ahead, people. It's okay. I'm going to get to my destination too. It's okay. Like you were saying, open the door, smile at a stranger,
Mhm.
I think
do
the funniest one that Alicia and I talked about last week or 2 weeks ago when we visited was the simple things like filling the toilet paper or filling the copier paper. Set it up for success for the next person. Because how many times have you gone in and go, I'm out. Now I have to spend my time setting, resetting, finding, searching. Yeah. Simple, I think it's simple things. That's one of my things in one of my sections in my book is change the toilet paper.
Well, and isn't it what it does is it takes your perspective off of you and what you're always needing and wanting, and it's going, how can I help others? How can I make a difference even on the smallest scale of changing out the toilet paper roll? Like that's powerful because you're shifting, and I always go back to also the attitude, it's a choice. It's the one thing you can control. And I do like how you added in trusting is who do we trust? Um, there's very few things that we can control, but we can control our attitude and how we look at things. And so shifting instead of always me, how can I help others in the smallest thing? Because we then tend to overcomplicate and go, well, I need to go buy them gifts or I need to do this. And it's like, no, just smile.
just be kind.
Just be like, so it's just, I just love what you are bringing to the table and how I love going back to the simplicity of things of really going, you guys, we've overcomplicated this. We have made this way more difficult than it needs to be. Let's get back to just the power of simplicity and just the little things. The little things are powerful.
See,
Yeah.
I
Well, and
call that
that's,
grandma's rules,
yeah.
right?
And that's what I did a live, Facebook Live the other day and just go back to, like you said, the basics. Oh, and I lost my train of thought, but it'll come back to me. But
I hate
it'll
when
come
that
back.
happens. I have that
Yeah,
too.
I
I have
know.
that. It's like squirrel brain.
Yeah. I can blame it on mom brain, but my kids are in their 20s, so that doesn't count.
Hey, it's still
Doesn't
here.
change.
Still
Once
It'll
a
come
mom,
back.
here.
forever a mom.
It'll come
Okay,
back.
so let's wrap this up because we were
Holy smokes, already?
I know time
Wow,
goes
that was
so
so
fast.
incredibly interesting. Thank you so much for giving us the first pre-peek at what's coming. Make sure and keep us in the loop. Did I was hoping, do we get like a peek of what's coming? Do you have
You
something to
betcha.
share
Yeah,
with us?
let me share my screen.
Yes, that's
This
exactly. Oh, okay.
this is the book. Isn't it fun
I
and
love it.
sparkly?
Look at how
Oh,
fun
I
that
love
is.
that.
Are you?
I chose the splotchy years ago, and I just had to put everything with it. So this is
You know what
shopping
I
your shtick.
love is it's messy, but
Yeah,
yet there's beauty in it. And that's how life can be, is sometimes messy, but there's still
Now,
beauty in it.
see, I see something super different
Oh,
than
you do.
I do. I see a progress here. I see something that starts at the top that's chaotic but beautiful, and then it goes into shocking, which is starting to become more organized. It's pulling those colors, and then we go down into the writing of your shtick, 90 Ways to Shine, and it just keeps getting more organized from
ah,
top to bottom.
interesting. That's a great way to look at it.
It is. You're pretty good at this.
Shh.
Oh, that's too late. Sorry.
Okay, I'll
So
take it.
while I have it on the screens, you know how to spell it.
Yep.
Shocking and Shtick are just with an SH. There's no SCH in any of it. So when you go to shockingyourshtick.com, you can be part. So you can go to shockingyourshtick.com and join the book launch posse, and you will get a copy of chapter 72. I call it chapter, it's a section 72 called Pull Weeds. And it has nothing to do with gardening.
Ooh, I love it. Okay.
Symbolism.
Yes, it's
We were talking
beautiful.
about
The
symbolism
mess,
earlier.
the messiness of life. Yeah.
Oh,
But
and it
see,
does get
and
messy.
that's what I saw in your, it was really powerful to me, the chaos that got organized as I went down. I'm hoping that that is going to be what I feel when I get to actually read the book.
I think this what sort of ties into part of why David and I have partnered together on this podcast is bringing different perspectives, right? Like
Absolutely.
we are very different on so many levels.
No, I'm just like every mom of five in South Dakota.
As he's from Los Angeles, born and raised, and here I am from
No,
small little Podunk, South Dakota. But
I
it's
have almost as
powerful
many
because the
people working
perspective.
for me as in your town.
You, hey, hey, we have 13,000 people here. Don't
No,
exaggerate.
you're right. I don't want 13,000 people.
See, I got to keep them in check. But it is really,
Pretty close, though, compared to numbers. If we look at the ratio of how many people live in Los Angeles County compared to here.
you're pulling at strings, dude. You are pulling at strings. Just let it go. Just let it go. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Deanna, how can people come alongside you in this journey and help support you in this and help build this momentum that you are wanting to create to help people shine? What can they do?
Oh, they can find me, follow me. Go to shockingyourshtick.com. You can go to deannabecket.com. It's two N's, one T for Deanna Becket. You can find me on Facebook, Deanna Becket. I'm trying to think of all of my handles. I think I have Deanna Becket on everything, like TikTok. I'm just starting, so that's a first
Well,
for
it's
me.
fun.
Instagram. Oh my goodness, there's so many. I think it's all under my name, Deanna Becket. If not, I think it's Dynamite Detox on X, but I don't do a heck of a lot over there. But
Okay.
yeah, find me, follow me, send me an email, deannabecket.com or at gmail.com. I'm not afraid to give out all my personal stuff. So I'd love to come alongside. I'm also looking for, more, small businesses or networking businesses where I can come in and do a presentation and, offer just uplifting and reminders. That's where I started. That's where I made my start, was in my network marketing. And I was, ugh. And I know you guys have team members that are that way too. And sometimes we need a little light, a little fire. And that's what happened to me. And look where we are now.
It's so powerful, just following your purpose and what God's asking, being willing to be uncomfortable on the journey, but leaning into God's calling. And I just love it. So thank you. Thank you for being our first host on our podcast. It is an absolute privilege to have you here, Deanna. And I just keep changing lives. And we're super excited. Do you want to start? Do you want to do the closing statement? Are you
Do a
ready?
closing statement?
Yes.
I'm not done. This is fun. I'm not ready to.
Yeah, it's time.
Oh, it's fun. This is the purpose effect. Thank you for joining us. This has been our first official guest, Deanna Becket. Thank you very much for your time. Please, everybody, as we go forward this week, remember, live in purpose. This week's purpose is going to be the continuing underlying purpose of everything we do of being present. So as we move forward, join the community, join the purpose effect, and let's all move forward being present for this week.
Thanks, you guys, for being here.